The crystalline walls of the nebula's edge pulsed with an otherworldly azure glow, casting prismatic shadows across the most diverse collection of sentient beings this side of the Andromeda. Maintenance drones buzzed overhead, their anti-gravity fields gently disturbing the holographic advertisements that flickered between 15 different languages. Each one proudly proclaimed the establishment as home to the strongest drinks in known space. Behind the bar's quantum-stabilized counter, Zix Thor adjusted his atmosphere suit's temperature controls. His iridescent scales shimmered as he tracked the movements of a particularly rowdy group of Triaxian merchants. Six arms moved in practiced synchronization as he mixed drinks, processed payments, and polished his prized collection of bottles. Each container, secured behind containment fields, held liquids that could dissolve standard starship hull plating. Another round of plasma whiskey for the Andromedans in Booth 7, chirped his assistant, a repurposed mining bot named Fizz. And the Jovians are complaining that their neutron vodka isn't radioactive enough. Zix Thor's inner eyelids flickered with amusement. Tell them if it was any more radioactive, we'd have to register the bar as a nuclear facility. His translator rendered the joke perfectly in all 27 currently spoken languages in the establishment. The station's warning klaxon cut through the ambient hum of conversation and music, its distinctive tone announcing an unscheduled arrival. The massive view screen behind the bar shifted to show an approaching vessel, its design unmistakably Earth-made. The sleek ship's hull bore the markings of a long-range trader, but something about it seemed different from the usual human vessels. Incoming transmission announced the station's AI. Earth-registered vessel Star Chaser requesting emergency docking clearance. Reason cited cultural exchange mission of vital importance. The bar's patrons turned their attention to the view screen, conversations dying down to whispers. Humans were still relatively new to the galactic community, and their appearances at outposts this far from Earth were rare enough to draw attention. Through the bar's atmospheric barrier stepped Captain Zarah, her dark skin contrasting with the silver of her environment suit. Her boots made a distinctive click against the metallic floor as she entered, followed by a crew that moved with the practiced ease of veteran spacefarers. Their cargo vests bulged with mysterious containers, and their expressions held that peculiar human look that Zix Thor had learned to recognize as barely contained amusement. "Welcome to the Nebula's edge," Zix Thor's translator hummed. "I trust you've come to sample the finest and strongest drinks this side of the galactic core." Zarah's lips curled into a knowing smile that would soon change the course of intergalactic drinking history. "Actually," she said, reaching into her cargo pocket, "we thought we might contribute something to your collection. The Centaurians evolved in a high-gravity environment saturated with natural ethanol springs, their biology adapting to process alcohol as a primary energy source. Zix Thor, like all his species, possessed 3 livers and a complex digestive system that could break down substances toxic to most life forms. His people took immense pride in this evolutionary advantage, building an entire culture around the brewing and consumption of increasingly potent beverages. Our ancestral grounds," Zix Thor explained to the gathered crowd, his scales shifting to display patterns that conveyed pride in his species' traditional color language, contained springs that would kill most species instantly. "We learned to drink starfire before we learned to make fire." He gestured to the wall of bottles behind him, each containing liquids that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Captain Zarah listened with genuine interest, her dark eyes studying the alien bartender's movements. Her own background as a second-generation Pakistani-American spacer had taught her the value of cultural exchange. The sleeve of her environment suit bore patches from 17 different space stations, each representing a successful first-contact trade mission. "Tell me about the Novarian star bile," she said, nodding toward the purple liquid that occasionally sparked with bioluminescent reactions. "I've heard it's distilled in the coronosphere of dying stars." Behind her, her crew positioned themselves strategically around the bar. First Officer Martinez, a veteran of 3 Terra Proxima wars, kept one hand near the medical kit on his belt. Science Officer Wong, whose doctoral thesis on xenobiochemistry had revolutionized human understanding of alien metabolisms, was already taking readings with a discreet scanner. Security Chief Patel, descended from a long line of Indian moonshiners, watched the various alien species' reactions with practiced eyes. "Your information is correct," Zix Thor's translator hummed with pleasure. "The Novarians harvest plasma from red giants in their death throes." The process of stabilizing the liquid alone took them 3 centuries to perfect. His inner eyelids flickered rapidly, a sign of intense emotion among his people. No other species has managed to replicate their technique. The bar had grown crowded as word spread of the humans' arrival. Representatives from a dozen spacefaring races gathered to witness what they assumed would be another amusing demonstration of human frailty. The Arcturians, with their silicon-based biology, chittered among themselves about the time they had accidentally dissolved a human's environment suit with their traditional greeting drink. The Rigelians, who processed alcohol through their crystalline matrix structure, positioned their sensory arrays to record what they expected to be an educational moment about human limitations. "You understand," Zarah said, her voice carrying the weight of diplomatic responsibility, "that humans have our own proud tradition of brewing spirits. Our abilities might surprise you." A ripple of translator-aided laughter moved through the crowd. The idea that any carbon-based life form could match the drinking prowess of the galaxy's ancient races seemed absurd. Even the station's AI chimed in with a calculated 0.00001% probability of human biology surviving exposure to any of the bar's top-shelf offerings. "Your species has been space-capable for barely 3 centuries," rumbled a massive Jovian, its gas-based form swirling with patterns of doubt. "Our youngest races have been distilling stellar essence for longer than your planet has had multicellular life." Zarah exchanged knowing looks with her crew. They had encountered this kind of dismissive attitude before, on 100 worlds and stations across known space. Each time, humanity had proven itself more resilient and adaptable than anyone expected. She reached into her cargo pocket and withdrew the bottle that would change the galaxy's understanding of human capabilities forever. "Then perhaps," she said, placing the innocuous-looking bottle of Everclear on the quantum-stabilized counter, "it's time for a proper cultural exchange." The negotiations began as they always did on frontier stations, with a careful dance of cultural protocols and thinly veiled threats. Zarah's crew had spread out across the bar, each monitoring different species' reactions to the innocuous bottle of Everclear sitting on the counter. "Your trade manifest lists this as recreational ethanol." Thor's translator struggled with the concept. "Yet you claim it requires special handling protocols." 95% pure ethanol, Science Officer Wong explained, her scanner hovering over the bottle. "No additives, no stabilizers, no quantum manipulation, just pure human ingenuity." The Novarian trade representative, a being composed primarily of plasma contained within a navigation suit, flickered with skepticism. "Impossible. Such purity would require stellar-grade containment fields." And yet Zarah tapped the simple glass bottle. "Here it sits in standard Earth glass. We're prepared to discuss export rights, of course, after a demonstration." The word rippled through the bar in 20 different languages. Demonstrations of new spirits were sacred traditions, governed by protocols as old as interstellar travel itself. Thor's scales shifted to formal patterns as he initiated the ceremony. "The terms," he asked, 6 arms moving in ritualistic precision as he prepared the testing area. "Simple," Zarah smiled. "We compare your strongest offerings against ours, volume for volume, effect for effect. The winner gains exclusive distribution rights in this sector." The stakes were enormous. The Nebula's edge sat at the crossroads of 7 major trade routes. Controlling spirit distribution here meant influencing commerce across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. "Your medical officer consents." Thor gestured to Martinez, who was already preparing specialized treatment pods. "Provided we follow safety protocols," Martinez answered, his war veteran eyes scanning the growing crowd. "Human alcohol hits different species in different ways. We'll need baseline readings from each participant." The preparation took 3 standard hours. Wong and her Novarian counterpart established measurement protocols, accounting for different metabolic rates and biological processes. Patel coordinated with station security as more ships diverted to witness the event. The bar's AI calculated odds and processed bets in 47 currencies. Behind the quantum-stabilized counter, Thor arranged his champions. Novarian star bile glowed with barely contained stellar energy. Jovian thunder spirit swirled with actual lightning. The Arcturian mirror wine reflected light that hadn't existed since the universe's birth. "Our strongest," he declared, inner eyelids flickering with pride. Each capable of powering a small starship or dissolving standard hull plating. Each representing millennia of brewing tradition. Zarah nodded respectfully, then reached into her cargo pocket and withdrew shot glasses. Standard Earth-manufactured shot glasses. The crowd's translator unit struggled to convey the multiple layers of disbelief this simple act generated. "Your containment protocols?" a Rigelian observer asked, crystal matrix vibrating with concern. "Won't need them," Zarah replied, setting up the glasses with practiced ease. That's the beauty of it. The first test involved measuring pure alcohol content. Wong's scanner hummed as it analyzed each specimen. The Novarian star bile registered at 85% pure ethanol, cut with exotic particles. The Jovian thunder spirits topped 89%, their matrix threaded with actual quantum strings. The Arcturian mirror wine bent the scanner's readings around non-Euclidean geometries. Then came the Everclear. Pure. Simple. 95% ethanol. No exotic additives. No quantum manipulation. Just human chemistry pushed to its absolute limit. Impossible. The readings rippled through the crowd in waves of disbelief. Their containment technology. Standard glass, Wong confirmed, holding up a bottle. Developed by humans who just wanted a stronger drink. The testing arena had been prepared according to ancient protocols. Each species had designated their champions, beings with enhanced metabolisms and reinforced organs. Medical teams stood ready. The station's AI had dedicated extra processing power to emergency responses. Zarah stepped forward, her environment suit sealed against potential spillage. "Shall we begin?" The crowd pressed against security fields, sensory organs straining to record every detail. In 3 spiral arms of the galaxy, betting had reached unprecedented levels. The fate of trade routes worth billions hung on what happened next. Zixthor's scales shifted to formal challenge patterns. By the ancient protocols, his translator hummed, "Let the demonstration commence." What happened next would be recorded in trading logs and cultural databases across known space. The day humanity revealed that their simple ethanol could humble the mighty alcohol tolerance of species that drank liquid stars. And it all started with a single shot glass, filled with clear liquid, sitting innocently on a quantum-stabilized counter. The first round began with Zixthor's champion, a seasoned Centaurian whose scales rippled with confidence. He downed the Novarian star bile without hesitation, his triple liver system processing the stellar-infused alcohol with practiced ease. The crowd chittered approval. This was what they expected from a species evolved to drink liquid starfire. Then came the Everclear. "Just a standard shot," Zarah explained, pouring the clear liquid. "No special preparation needed." The Centaurian lifted the glass with the casual arrogance of one who had never met his match. His translator issued a traditional drinking toast in 15 languages simultaneously. Then he drank. The silence that followed lasted exactly 2.3 seconds. The Centaurian's scales shifted from iridescent pride to emergency warning patterns. His inner eyelids snapped shut, then open, then shut again. 3 specialized breathing apparatus activated simultaneously as his body tried to process what had just happened. Impossible, he managed through the translator before all 6 legs buckled beneath him. The medical team rushed forward, scanners whirring. "His enzyme systems are completely overwhelmed," Martinez reported, administering emergency stabilizers. "The ethanol is bypassing all natural defenses." Before anyone could process this development, 3 Novarians stepped forward. Their containment suits glowed with confidence as they approached the testing area. Clearly their unified consciousness broadcasted, the Centaurian system was unprepared. "We drink plasma for breakfast." Zarah tried to warn them. "Perhaps we should run some compatibility tests first." But Novarian pride knew no bounds. 3 shots were poured. 3 containment suits tilted back. 3 doses of pure earth ethanol met plasma-based biology. The resulting reaction would later be described in xenobiology textbooks as the Great Nebula's Edge incident. The Novarians' plasma-based forms destabilized instantly. Their containment suits initiated emergency protocols as their usually stable plasma forms began to oscillate wildly. A medical emergency in sectors 7 through 12. The station AI announced with remarkable calm, "Please clear all corridors for emergency response teams." The Jovian representatives, who had been floating nearby with superior expressions in their gaseous forms, suddenly backed away from the testing area. Their previous boasts about drinking lightning died unspoken as they watched the Novarians being rushed to emergency containment. Wong's scanner was working overtime, recording everything. The pure ethanol is acting as a universal solvent, she reported. It's not just the alcohol content, something about the human manufacturing process makes it uniquely potent across species barriers. The crowd had gone from skeptical to stunned. The betting odds across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy shifted violently. The Arcturians, who had been next in line to test their crystalline constitutions against Earth's offering, quietly recalculated their risk assessments. Zixthor's scales had shifted to a pattern never before recorded in xenobiological databases, somewhere between religious awe and existential crisis. How his translator asked in a single language, too shocked for multi-channel broadcasting. How did your species develop such a substance? What stellar forge birthed this power? Zarah exchanged glances with her crew before answering. We just wanted something stronger than vodka for college parties. The medical bay was now operating at full capacity. The Centaurian champion was stable but babbling about seeing through time. The Novarians would require specialized plasma reconstitution. And the story was already spreading through subspace channels. Humanity's simple ethanol had humbled the galaxy's mightiest drinkers. Perhaps Zixthor suggested, his translator now operating in careful diplomatic mode, we should discuss those distribution rights. And safety protocols. Definitely safety protocols. In the days following the Great Nebula's Edge incident, the station buzzed with unprecedented activity. Emergency protocols were drafted, warning labels created, and new safety measures implemented across 17 sectors of known space. At the center of it all, the Nebula's Edge became an unlikely embassy for human-alien relations. The containment field must be triple reinforced, Wong instructed the station's engineers as they modified the bar's storage systems. And we need universal warning symbols, something that translates across all species' visual perception ranges. Zixthor had transformed his prized wall of potent spirits into a carefully regulated display. Each bottle of Earth alcohol now sat behind specialized barriers, accompanied by holographic warnings in 27 languages. His scales, once showing patterns of competitive pride, now displayed the complex geometries of philosophical contemplation. Your people, he said to Zarah one evening, as they watched his staff install new dispensing systems, developed this drink not for power or pride, but simply because you could. Humans have a saying, Zarah replied, sipping carefully measured Earth bourbon. Necessity is the mother of invention. But curiosity? Curiosity is the crazy uncle who shows up at family gatherings with questionable gifts. The trade agreements that emerged from the incident reshaped commerce across 3 spiral arms. Earth spirits, once dismissed as primitive concoctions, now commanded premium prices in major spaceports. But more importantly, the galaxy's perception of humanity shifted fundamentally. If their recreational drinks can overwhelm our strongest metabolisms, a Regelian trade minister observed, perhaps we should revisit our assumptions about their other capabilities. New protocols emerged. The Galactic Trade Commission established the human potency scale for measuring and classifying intoxicants. Bars across known space adapted their serving practices. Some species even developed specialized enhancement suits just to safely sample Earth's milder offerings. But the most profound change occurred in the Nebula's Edge itself. Where once stood a monument to alien superiority, now operated a testament to mutual respect and understanding. Zixthor's legendary collection expanded to include carefully curated Earth spirits, each with its own story and warning label. The universe, he explained to fascinated customers, his translator now fluent in describing Earth-proof systems, is not divided into strong and weak species. Rather, each civilization finds its own path to excellence, even if that path leads through what humans call a college party. The medical bay eventually cleared the last victims of the demonstration. The Centaurian champion emerged with a newfound respect for human biochemistry and a slight tendency to see through time when stressed. The Novarians required 2 weeks of plasma reconstitution, but afterwards became enthusiastic importers of heavily diluted Earth spirits. As for Zarah and her crew, they found themselves in the unexpected role of cultural ambassadors. The Star Chaser's cargo holds now carried carefully regulated shipments of Earth alcohol, alongside diplomatic protocols and safety guidelines. Each port they visited sought their expertise in setting up proper handling procedures. We never set out to conquer the galaxy with Everclear, Zarah reflected during one of her regular visits to the Nebula's Edge. We just wanted to share a drink among stars. Thor's scales shimmered with the newly documented pattern for cross-cultural appreciation. Sometimes. His translator hummed, "The strongest revelations come in the clearest packages." 5 years after the famous Everclear incident. The Nebula's edge had transformed into a symbol of interstellar cooperation. The Galactic Trade Commission's new division of terrestrial spirits occupied an entire deck of the station. Their offices dedicated to maintaining the complex web of safety regulations that now governed Earth alcohol distribution. "Welcome to Cultural Exchange Hour," Thor announced to the packed bar, his scales displaying the now standardized pattern for cross-species celebration. Today's featured drink, the Earth cocktail known as a Long Island iced tea, carefully diluted for non-human consumption, of course. The bar's patrons represented every spacefaring race in known space, each equipped with species-specific drinking apparatus and monitoring devices. A Novarian in a reinforced containment suit shared a table with a Centaurian diplomat, both sipping Earth whiskey diluted to 1/10 strength. Nearby, a group of Arcturians had modified their crystalline mattresses to safely process human beer. Captain Zarah, now serving as Earth's official ambassador for beverage trade relations, raised her glass in a toast. "To understanding," she said, "found at the bottom of every glass, no matter what species pours it." The station's AI chimed in with updated statistics. Earth spirit exports had increased 4,000%, while alcohol-related medical emergencies had dropped to near zero. The new regulations, strict but fair, had turned a potential disaster into a cornerstone of interstellar commerce. As the celebration continued, Thor approached Zarah with a special bottle certified safe for both their species. Sometimes his translator hummed, "The strongest bonds are forged by the most unexpected catalysts." They drank together, human and Centaurian, while overhead, the stars wheeled past the station's crystal viewport, bearing ships laden with carefully regulated cargo to the far corners of explored space.